My name is Ondrej and I've used Cursor to build an app that currently makes $7,000 a month. And in this video, I'll show you exactly how I did it. So all you really need is these three AI tools: Cursor, Claude, and Vectal. You don't need to be a programmer, you don't need any business experience, and you certainly don't need to be an AI expert. If you just pay attention and watch this video until the end, you'll have everything you need to know to build your own AI startup. Now, to build a startup, you first need an idea that solves a problem. Instead of thinking like, what would be cool to build, find a problem that exists and figure out what the solution should be. And in a bit, I'll show you how to actually do that. For this video, there is a clear trend that's happening, and that is deep research. The interest and demand for advanced AI tools that do very deep research is skyrocketing, as you can see by the Google Trends chart. First was Gemini, right? Google Gemini released deep research back in December, and it was probably their best AI tool because Google is a bit behind. Then in early February, OpenAI released their deep research, which was significantly better than the one from Google. And just 15 hours ago, which means literally yesterday, Perplexity also released a deep research feature, which means that now the three main AI research tools all have a deep research feature. The issue is, however, OpenAI charges $200 a month, and OpenAI has the best one currently. But in this video, I'm going to show you how to use DeepSeek R1 to build your own deep research tool for less than $1. Basically, you're just covering the API costs, and then to resell it into an actual SaaS product that you can scale to $1,000, $2,000, $7,000 a month and beyond. Now, the opportunity I'm about to describe works for essentially any niche, right? And the startup idea itself is pretty simple. You build a specialized deep research tool for a specific niche. So whether it is, doctors or like medical professionals, whether it's lawyers, paralegals, or bankers, financiers, whatever, any niche that requires researching the web, you can build a specialized deep research tool, charge like $10 a month, and scale it to thousands of dollars a month in revenue. So in this video, I'm going to show you step by step everything you need to do to capitalize on this deep research trend and to build your own AI SaaS that makes thousands of dollars a month. And if you're serious about AI and want to see more videos like this in the future, make sure to subscribe. It's completely free and takes like 2 seconds. All right, so the first thing we need is to install Cursor. So go to cursor.com and click on download. And what's great about Cursor is that you can actually get started for free. They have a pretty solid free plan that even gives you 2-week trial for the advanced plan. But if you're serious about building a startup, I definitely recommend getting the $20 a month plan. So once you install Cursor, it should look something like this with no folders open. So click on Open Project, select a folder. Let's create an empty one. I'm going to name it Code, Create, and Open. Now make sure you press Command L or Control L. So by default, the files will be on the left and the chat will be on the right. Just, don't panic when you see this. It's completely normal. Everything works the same. I just prefer to have it on the left. That way my camera doesn't block the chat. Anyways, this is the composer. This is the main feature of Cursor where we're going to be typing to build our app, right? And as you can see, there are two main modes, normal and agent. Agent is what we want to use because it can do a lot more, which you'll see in a moment. Now, this is perhaps the most important part, choosing the right AI model. So first go to the top, click on Settings, Cursor Settings, and click on Models. Here you can select which AI model is going to be used. So we definitely want Claude 3.5 Sonnet 2024-10-22. And this is the AI model that Cursor is built around. So a lot of these features work the best with this specific model. Then we want DeepSeek R1, obviously. And if you want Gemini, you can enable these two and O3 Mini. Once you do that, make sure you select it here. This is not the same model. It needs to have the 2024-10-22 after it. This is the old version, right? So make sure you use this one instead. Okay, so inside of Composer, here you can just type in plain English and it will build your app for you. And honestly, I'm speaking for experience because that's how I built Vectal. Vectal is my AI startup that currently does around $7,000 a month. And I've built it just by typing and speaking English into Cursor and Cursor writing the code. I've never built an AI startup before. I definitely wasn't a genius programmer, but I had an idea. I wanted to build it. So I used these AI tools to actually make it happen. And that's what I'm going to be showing you in this video, how you can take an idea and build it into a full product and launch it to the public where they can subscribe and give you money for it. All right, let's get started on this task, build the deep research tool in Cursor. This is a pretty big task, so I'm going to ask Vectal to break it down. Break down the build my deep research task into 5 smaller steps. At the start, when I was a complete beginner, 3-4 months ago, I didn't know even what tech stack I should use. Whether I should use Python, Next.js, Fast API. I didn't know. So I used Claude, Cursor to build Vectal, which is right now the AI tools I use on every day, right? To save myself tons of time. So first we need to choose the tech stack. Let's see. Select the front-end database, API structure, consider React, Next.js, potential backend options, okay? So I'm gonna just ask, and actually let me enable DeepSeek R1 for this. What tech stack would you recommend? I just want to build specialized deep research feature for investors. This is the niche I'm really picking right here. And then I'll say it needs to have a simple chatbot in the front end and minimal AI logic on the back end. Okay, so I just described the idea for the app, and I'm gonna see what Vectal recommends me to do, right? So I'm in DeepSeek R1 mode, so now DeepSeek starts reasoning about my prompt, and it will give me a very relevant and specialized answer. Okay, so this is interesting. It recommends me to use Vercel, basically both front end and back end, which reminded me that there is a Vercel AI SDK. What is the Vercel AI SDK for? Explain it in simple terms, right? And this is the value of watching videos like this. You get these little tips and shortcuts, which I had to find through, sheer hours on the web. So Vercel AI SDK is a toolkit that can connect to AI tools, right? So if you type in Vercel AI SDK into Google, the first link is going to be just that. So if I scroll down right here, you can see that they support all kinds of different models: OpenAI, Azure, Anthropic, Perplexity, Grok. Yeah, so many models, right? So to build our own deep research, we want to use DeepSeek, but actually, pro tip, if you don't want your data to go to China, we're going to use Together AI, because here they have so many different models, right? We can see DeepSeek v3, they also have DeepSeek R1. So this is an AI service, cloud service, that is hosted in Europe and USA. So your data will not be going to the CCP. Another pro tip that otherwise you wouldn't learn. But basically, let's see the SDK, right? So Perplexity is another great feature that definitely I would recommend while building your startup or while building a SaaS. It just allows you to search, right? So Perplexity plus Cursor plus Vectal, that's all you really need. So since we already know that we're going to use Next.js on the front end, I'm just going to have Cursor get started on that. Create a simple Next.js project. Choose the default settings and options. We are building a clean and minimal AI research tool. Okay, and I'm going to hit enter. And keep in mind, I'm in agent mode, right? So agent can take actions. So it can run commands such as this one. So npx create latest, boom, let's do that. And it starts creating the Next.js project for me, even though I have no clue what's going on. And here I have to press Y. Actually, can it do it itself? Let's see. Yeah, you need to do this. Yeah, you need to press the Y during the install. So during this, would you like to use TypeScript, yes or no? You can choose either or. I'm going to do yes, ESLint, yes. And if you don't know if you don't know whether you should do yes or no, just ask. But since I've done this for Vectal, I can just speed run through this. Code is src directory, sure. Would you like to use app router, sure. No. Okay, customize the import alias, no. And okay, so it's creating the Next.js project for us. In the meantime, let's look at the Perplexity search and what it said. Vercel SDK is a toolkit that makes it super easy to build AI applications using JavaScript and TypeScript. So this will make it much easier for us to get started, I think. And here, it's really an ideal situation. And to be honest, I haven't used it before. So you're going to watch me learn in the real time, and you're going to watch me how I use Perplexity, Vectal, and Cursor to do something I've never done before. I've never used a Vercel SDK, and I've never built a deep research tool. And actually, I do want to add it to Vectal. Right now we have O3 Mini, DeepSeek R1, and soon there's going to be a feature that's a lot more powerful than even these two, that's going to have a version of deep research. So, all right, let's see what happened in the Cursor. Yeah, basically, Cursor agent can use the terminal. That's a huge superpower. A lot of you guys, if you're beginners, you don't know how to use the terminal. I certainly didn't. Cursor agent can take care of that. So we have the, on the right in our code folder, we can see that we have the structure for the project, right? So if you click into the src folder, you can see the page here, globals, layout. So these are the main files, right? Anyways, right now, I don't think there's anything Maybe we can actually try it. So I'm going to say start up the front end to see what it looks like. I don't even know if it's going to run, but maybe it will do. So it will start the development server, which is npm run dev. But again, you don't need to know that command. So let's see. This is going to run in the terminal. So now if we actually click on localhost 3000, we will see the Next.js app right here. So, we need to edit, obviously, this file. So if you go into cursor, this is, and actually I'm going to click on move terminal into panel. That way it's at the bottom where terminals should be. This is what our app looks like currently. It's the default one. So actually I can get cursor started already on that. So a good practice is to create a new composer when you're switching topics, right? You can see your composer history right here. So if you need to switch back, it's very easy. But since I want to do something else now, we set up a Next.js project. Now I want to change it. I'm going to be creating a new composer. Update, and then I'm going to tag the file. This is very important. You need to be tagging the files. So even if you don't know how to code, if you don't know, the syntax, I certainly don't know Next.js syntax, you should have a good idea of what each file does, right? So global CSS, that's the styling. Layout, that's the layout of our app. Page, this is what the page actually looks like. So this is at least the minimum you need to do. You need to understand what each file does. You don't need to understand the code, but you need to understand your file structure, right? So, and again, you can always ask cursor to remind you. So I'm going to say update page.tsx to make it a very clean AI research tool, something like ChatGPT and Perplexity, but even more minimalist. The goal is to appeal to investors. Okay, so I'm going to just let it cook, right? It's going to open this file. It's going to write the code. In the meantime, let's go back to Vectal and let's discuss what do we do about this SDK, whether this is good. So one thing you can do is you can copy Perplexity searches right here. Copy. I'm going to paste this into Vectal. I'm going to say, is this helpful to what we need? I'm considering using the Vercel SDK to help us build faster. Okay, so it seems like the Vercel AI SDK is actually perfect for what we need. So I'm going to tell Vectal, in that case, update our tasks accordingly. I don't even know what it's going to do, but let's see. Okay, so cursor, we have some changes here. And the beauty of an npm development server is that you can actually see them in real time. So if we go to localhost, this is what it looks like right now with a single prompt. Like, look at this. It wrote 92 lines of code, deleted 88 lines of code. And this is what our app looks like currently with just a single cursor prompt. So I'm going to accept that. Obviously, later on, you should probably read the changes it does, right? Rather than blindly accepting. But at the start, there is little risk because your app is, nothing. Your app doesn't have anything. So we need to figure out how to implement this, Vercel SDK. So I'm going to go back into Perplexity. I'm going to say, how do I implement Vercel SDK into my Next.js front-end app? I want to build a team of AI agents that do research using the Together AI API from Vercel SDK. So basically, out of these providers, right, you can choose any, but I want to use DeepSeek R1. So obviously, OpenAI or Claude doesn't host DeepSeek R1. We have to use something that does. If we click into Together AI, we can see that they support over 200 open source models. And the installation is actually right here. So yeah, honestly, this is what I should have done. I don't need to do the Perplexity here. Almost always you will save time on documentation, guys. It's, it's tempting to skip it, but you shouldn't do that. So I'm gonna just copy over maybe not the entire thing. I don't need the image models. Maybe up to here. And I'm gonna go back into cursor. I'm gonna paste it into the composer. I'm gonna say implement a new file that handles the AI logic. We need a team of, maybe now I need to describe the logic for deep research, right? We need a team of AI agents that actually do the research. But first, just design a simple file structure that does everything we need. Most importantly, we need to import the Together AI API using the Vercel SDK. Take a deep breath and proceed like a senior developer would. So this is what our app looks like currently. Obviously, the issue is that it doesn't have any functionality. So if I say, test, it will not respond with an AI response. We just need to give it the functionality. So to get the AI, right, we need the API key. So if we follow the documentation, and again, if you're confused about documentation, which by the way, you shouldn't be, because docs are written for beginners, right? A lot of beginners are tempted to skip the documentation because they think, oh, it's for the programmers. But actually, documentation tells you what to do clearly. So the more of a beginner you are, the more you should be using documentation. But anyways, if you're still confused by this, you can simply like copy the whole site, right? And just paste it into Vectal and have it explain it. Or paste it into Cursor. So build my own research tool in the Cursor. So this is a big task. Then choose the tech stack, right? So we have chosen the tech stack. Now we need to set up the file structure. So I'm going to say, I have chosen the tech stack. And Vectal is already aware of, okay, that probably means I need to complete the task. Boom, it marks the task as complete. Next, help me with designing a minimal file structure. Okay, so I'm going to use O3 Mini for this. And actually, this is why I like using Vectal, because you can just switch between the 3 best AI models in the world. So let's describe what we have, right? We have globals, we have page. Did it create any new files here? Is it still building? Okay, package, JSON, chat.ts. Okay, so we have some files, services, chat.ts. So, okay. I'll say, let me design a minimal file structure to create our deep research tool. Currently, I just have the default Next.js project, right? So it will know what that means. And then let's see. Okay, so we have an error here that's expected. It's trying to implement the chat, but okay, index.ts, it's trying to do too much at once. I can already tell. So instead of doing all that, I'm going to say, I'm going to actually change the prompt. So this is very common. A lot of the times you will not get it run. It's actually rare to get it on the first try. Maybe it's something simple, but it's super common that you go back and you change your prompts inside of Cursor. So right now it's tried changing like 4 files at once, right? That is very risky. It's very likely that something will go wrong. So instead, I'm going to say, implement a new file that handles the AI logic. Okay, so instead of doing that, I'm going to say, what do we need to do now? Do we need a new file that handles the AI logic? And then take a deep breath, and I'm going to say, and answer like a senior developer would. Do not write any code yet, just answer. So this is very common. Sometimes it's better to have it answer, and after you have clarity, then it writes some code. So here is what O3 Mini suggests. We have root, components, page. I think we might even be able to do simpler. I think we can even make it simpler. Let's see. Okay, so here is what Cursor suggested. App, page layout, okay, API chat routes, main API endpoint for the chat route, and then we have lib AI, config agents. Okay, this is again too complex. This is too complex. All we need is 1 or 2 files to handle the AI logic securely away from the client. And then we need to call those API endpoints from page.tsx. So this is why you should still give input, right? You shouldn't blindly accept what the AI is saying. If something feels too complicated, it usually is. And obviously, the more experience you have, the more you can guide it. At the start, it's hard to know what's true. But again, that's why having multiple AI tools, right? Perplexity, Cursor, Vectal, you can double check. Or you can just switch to a different model and ask, see what DeepSeek suggests. So let's see, here's a simplified structure. Okay, page, index, search. Okay, looks much simpler. Research form, research results. Okay, this looks much better. Let's see what Cursor suggests. You're absolutely right. It's so funny how these AI models just give in at the slightest pushback. They're completely yes men. This is the danger of building by AI. The AI will do what you want, right? Even if you're on the right track, even if you're completely on the wrong track, it will just follow your instructions. So app API chat. Okay, so this means we need a new API folder. So I'm just gonna say good, now create the necessary files and folders. So the AI agent, since it can use the terminal, it can create the files, but we need to sometimes approve it, right? Like it cannot just delete and update files. It cannot run commands without you approving it. So I'm gonna allow this. It created a new directory, API/chat, and then it's trying to create this new file inside of this directory. There it is, right? So it created the new file. It's like what, 38 lines of code. Let's see, we have AI SDK together AI, so we need to install that, right? Let's go back to follow the documentation. Yeah, so npm, so this is the command. It looks correct. Actually, no. Oh, npm, yeah, npm install. Yeah, so just double checking together AI. Actually, the command is this. So I'm gonna correct. This is why you should use documentation, right? I'm gonna correct it. Actually, use this command. Boom. And again, I'm gonna let it run in its terminal. So I'm gonna accept this. Streaming response from AI. Does it need that? Or is this some like bonus? Language models, let's see. Streaming response from AI. Maybe we will need the streaming response. Generate text from AI. Okay. We'll see. We'll see. Let's run this. Streaming text response. Is it really here? Streaming text response. It is, but it's not as a separate install. Maybe this is like the main one, the main SDK. No, but it looks to be specialized. Again, I've never built this before, so you can see. Okay, Vercel AI SDK for streaming. Okay, so I guess we need to run this. Let's see. We'll listen to cursor, right? Maybe it's wrong, maybe it's right. The best way to see is to test it out. But it really seems like, okay, let me see. AI SDK, npm install AI. Okay, so yeah, this, we need to do that. Streaming text response. I don't think this is using. Okay, get started. So let's see. Do we see the streaming? Okay, streaming right here. What do we need for the streaming? Oh, it's stream text. Okay, so anyways, I'm just gonna copy this because it's using the incorrect. I already spotted the error, but let's say you haven't, so just copy this. I'm gonna say, make sure you follow the official documentation, right? And in the meantime, we actually need to go back. So I'm gonna say, together AI Vercel SDK. So we need to go back into this, and we need to go to together AI to actually get the API key, right? So we need this. We need the API key from together AI. So together AI, basically, as it says, it's hosting open source models. So you can just charge up like $2 or something. You basically only pay for what you use. So if you use deep research a few times a month, it will cost you like less than $1, which is amazing, right? Because OpenAI will make you pay 200. Anyways, we need to log in, so I'm gonna do that. I already have an account. If you don't have an account, just use like your Gmail or something. It's super simple. Go into your account right here. So once you click on the top right, you need to go to the left and click on API keys. And here we need to create a new API key. So I'm gonna do new key. I'm gonna name it deep research. Boom, create key. And then copy that, right? We need to save this. So do we have an env file or no? Let me accept this real quick. Maybe we don't. I'm gonna say create a new .env file and make sure that route TSA uses that. I'm gonna put there the together AI API key. So it's good to put your API keys in environment files for safety. Let's see, there's some changes in here. Okay, so it wants to basically import whatever. I'm just gonna accept this. Let's go into env file. So now it created it. Node env environment. I think this is default. We don't need to do that. But basically here we need to paste in the API key, right? So I'm gonna do Control V, save. And again, API keys should be treated as passwords. I'm gonna delete mine before uploading this video. Never share your API keys with anybody. So let's see what's happening here. Route TSX, it needs to update it to use this API key. So it throws an error if it doesn't use, but then we still have an error here. So when you have an error, you can actually just highlight over it and click on Fix in Composer, and Cursor is gonna do its best to fix it for you. So let's see what this error is. Looking at the error, we need to format according to Together AI SDK. So, okay, let me give you a good tip, right? So let's say there's a documentation you need to be using often. There's actually a docs feature for this, right? So we really need the Together AI SDK from Vercel. So I'm gonna copy this. Let's do the entire thing this time. I'm gonna copy this and I'm gonna do add docs. I'm gonna do add new docs. This is, by the way, native to Cursor. And actually they want the URL. So let me paste in the URL. And I'm gonna name it Together AI Vercel SDK. Confirm. So now we can just easily tag this. And actually, first I need to see what is happening. So it's trying to fix some formatting errors. So I'm gonna say, make sure you follow the official docs. I'm gonna tag in docs and then Together AI Vercel SDK. Enter. So let's see if this is good. But the streaming response, actually we need to separate for that. Let's go back into the AI SDK docs and navigate to streaming. And I'm gonna copy this. Or actually, no, we need a URL. We need the URL, and let me do docs again. Boom, new docs, paste in URL, enter. And this is the Vercel streaming, confirm. So you can see the docs in your Cursor settings, by the way. And when they were indexed, you can refresh them. So this is a valuable tip. Anyways, let's see what is happening, if it fixed the errors or not. And actually, I'm gonna do what I said before. I'm gonna edit my prompt. Make sure to follow the official docs as well as the streaming docs, okay? And I'm gonna tag the streaming, Vercel streaming, boom. So now I'm sending both pages of documentation at once. So hopefully that resolves any issues in route.ts. Let's see. Looking at the official, let me update the route. So there is, it's still trying to use streaming response. I don't know why. It's not mentioned anywhere. Okay, so in this case, when it's not using the docs, what I like to do is I like to copy it and I like to create a folder, right? So let me create a folder, docs. And in here, I'm gonna create a new file. I'm gonna do streaming.md. And I'm gonna paste it in here. And actually, let me start with a comment. Official Vercel SDK documentation for token streaming. And I'm gonna just stop the chat. It's going in circles. It's going absolutely crazy. And this is sometimes, again, it's better to just reset the composer. Every now and then, you should reset the composer and just make sure it's calm, make sure it's good, right? So what I'm gonna first do, I'm gonna switch to chat because there is two modes inside of Cursor, chat and composer. And I wanted to format the streaming file. Format this file in proper markdown. Do not change anything, just, okay, do not rewrite anything, just update the formatting. Okay, so what we should really do is ensure that stuff works, right? We put in the API key. I want to make sure that it works. The model it's trying to choose is completely incorrect. So, okay, this is crazy. Let me put this in Composer. I don't know why it's acting up, but this is the reality of building with Cursor. It's not going to be perfect always, but you have to be willing to try. So I just wanted to update this so it's nicely formatted so that in the future, when it's being called by AI models, it's easier to read for them, right? So then again, I'm going to create a new composer because I don't want that to old context to influence what I'm doing. But anyways, we have errors inside of root TS, right? I'm going to copy this. Boom. We have an error in route TS. Make sure we follow the official documentation. So the docs feature from Cursor, from my experience, is not the best. I like to create the files specifically, and this is much more reliable, right? So I have done it for streaming, right? We need to do it for Together AI as well. So if we do providers, Together AI as again, and I copy the entire thing, this will be a lot more reliable. From my experience, again, I could be wrong. New file, I'm going to say together ai.md, boom. I'm going to paste it in here, and I'm going to switch back to the previous composer, markdown formatting, and you can see this was the chat and this was the composer. I'm going to say implement the same formatting for Together AI. So now I don't have to no longer copy paste these. I can just call my files from the docs folder, and this is much more reliable. Let's see. It's trying to format the file. It's like over 100 lines. So basically the way Cursor works, it first generates the new code and then it applies it, right? So that's why it takes longer for longer files. So I'm going to accept this. Now we need to, route.ts is still crazy, right? So new composer, I'm going to say fix the error in route.ts, make sure to follow the official documentation. I'm going to tag in streaming as well as Together AI. I'm going to let it do that. In the meantime, we need to find the correct model name. So let's go to Together AI. Let's go to docs, popular models. They're DeepSeek R1. So DeepSeek R1, open in Playground. And then from Playground, you can click on the API. So this is the name of the model. And again, we can just copy paste this. We're using TypeScript here. So let's click on TypeScript. And not all of these parameters are valid, to be honest. We just need to select the model name. So I'm going to copy the model name exactly as it is. I'm going to replace this guy right here. Yeah. It's still, yeah, this is terrible. This is very red flag what it's doing right now. I'm just going to stop it. There is no point in this happening. First, I'm gonna save the model because this is not what we know for certain, right? Next, we need to see like what's the issue. Prompt, okay? It's trying to assign prompt in a weird way. Actually, let's go back into documentation, see the way prompts are handled. Prompts, okay? So I'm just gonna repeat the way prompts are handled. So let me copy paste this entire thing. The beauty of the Vercel SDK is that it will work for all the providers. So if you want to switch from Together AI to OpenAI or to Anthropic, you can do that very, very easily. Let me create the new file right here. And what is it again? Prompts. So new file, prompts.md, boom. I'm going to say in here, and then let's open up our formatting composer. I'm going to say, oh, this one is very long actually. Let's see if it can handle that. Now update prompts as well to follow the same markdown formatting. Do not change any of the content. Do not rewrite anything. Just make it formatted nicely. So currently error fixing is our biggest problem, right? We cannot see what our app, we can reload our app, but like with this error, we cannot send a message, right? Let's see what happens. Thinking, and then it just disappears. So we need to resolve this. And to do that, we need to figure out what is the issue. Why is it trying to assign a string when the string is not assignable here? And really the main issue is that Cursor works offline. It uses the Claude 3.5 Sonnet new model, which is amazing, but it doesn't have real-time web access. And again, there is a web feature in Cursor, but it's not the best. The best for a web search is Perplexity or OpenAI Deep Research, which is super expensive, or ideally the Deep Research that we're going to build right here. So in order for me to start designing the logic, we first need to get a successful response from model. So let's see, prompts.md, did it update the whole file? Seems like it did. It's like 46 different edits, so I'm going to accept that. And quick check, it's roughly the same length, so that's good. Now, route.ts. So now we have the official prompts documentation. I'm going to say, make sure route.ts follows the official documentation on prompts. And I'm going to tag in prompts.md. For this model, actually, I'm gonna not use this at all. We don't want the temperature. Max tokens, let's see. Let's see the, where are we? We need the Together AI providers, Together AI. I know we have it inside of Cursor, but here it's, you know, nicely visible. For the models, oh yeah, it will not show for specific models. Yeah, so tool streaming, this is not going to be available for DeepSeek R1. Okay, this is not solving it. So I'm going to say rewrite route.ts to closely follow the official docs I pasted above, right? It's actually crazy that it's showing exactly the model we need, but seems like the prompt is being passed incorrectly. And again, this is my first time using Vercel SDK, so you can clearly see it's my first time. But again, this is the power, right? If I spent, you know, multiple hours preparing myself, I don't think that would be authentic. I don't think that would be relevant, trying to, you know, show you, oh, it's my first time, but then it's not. Why is the prompt being inserted this way? Like something is completely incorrect here. I don't know, it's hallucinating stuff. I'm gonna say, anyways, I'm gonna copy exactly this. And I'm gonna say, this is a different feature, right? So when you highlight specific part of code, this is a Command K. I'm gonna say, follow, rewrite this to follow the official documentation below. Boom, submit. Accept, and then stream text. Well, okay, we need to import it, so let's press tab. And okay, there are the issues that stream text returns, okay, it returns response. So did we get rid of the errors or no? Seems like we no longer have any errors. So let's go back to our app. Let's refresh it, and let's see if we get a response. Can you see this? Make sure page.tsx properly uses and calls route. Currently, when I send a message, nothing happens. And I think Cursor can maybe figure out what's happening. Let's see. Page.tsx, it's importing the root API chat. Let's see if that works. I described that nothing happens, so let me check. Reload. Test. So the message bubble disappears. The issue still persists. Let's add more debug log. So let's add a few debug log statements into page and route so that we know what's happening. And also make sure the AI response message bubbles don't disappear so fast. Actually, they should never disappear. Currently, they do. You need to clearly describe what's happening, otherwise AI tools cannot help you. The reason why a lot of you aren't finding the use that you would have is because you're not giving it the context that it needs to have. So if you give it relevant context, it will help you out. So okay, now it added 7 debug log statements that we will able to see in the root. That's good. And then page.tsx, it's adding stuff now. So we have the file structure. We can mark it done as complete in Vectal. By the way, Vectal is now free. You can go to vectal.ai and use it for free with limited access to O3 Mini and DeepSeek R1. So there is no AI tool in the world that can give you limited access to these the best free AI models. So go to vectal.ai, give it a shot. It's the best AI-powered task manager in the world, and it will save you so much time. Like any new task you create automatically gets sorted to your list based on other active tasks and based on your user context. And again, you can work with the chat agent, it can create new tasks, it can move tasks around. So yeah, go to vectal.ai, give it a shot. I promise you won't be disappointed. All right, let's see what Cursor cooked up in here. So we have a bunch of more debug statements. That's good. I'm going to accept that. And then some of them are going to go to the terminal here. Some of them are going to go to this terminal right here. So let's refresh. I'm going to send a message, test. Let's see what's going on. Thinking, and we got an error, chat error. Let's see. Wait on submit, blah, blah, blah. Write a one paragraph search query written as if you were telling a human researcher what to look for, and this was all the context you could give him. Do not do anything else, just output this single paragraph with all the technical details of our project. So this will write a very optimized search query, and then we can use Perplexity to go deeper. So in Perplexity, I'm going to paste this in. I'm going to select actually, we can use even deep research in Perplexity. But we need to get this working. If we don't get this working, I cannot start designing our own deep research. So the way deep research works in Perplexity is that it analyzes the input and then it starts thinking about it. And then based on the thoughts, it does the web search. See? This is the power of, this is the difference of deep research. It does reasoning in between the searches. And that's how we're going to design it as well. Beautiful. So I think Perplexity probably, right now if I had to say, I think ChatGPT has it the best, but also they hide what they're doing. Perplexity is showing what it's doing much better. So I like that, obviously. OpenAI is famously closed source. Ironic coming from a company named OpenAI, but hey, it is what it is. Now, if you're wondering like, okay, David, but how did you know to write prompts like this, right? To get these detailed paragraphs for Perplexity, use Perplexity, put that into Cursor to solve these issues. Like, how did you even know that? And honestly, I didn't. Like, this is what I learned from hundreds of hours, trial and error of building Vectal, right? Like, sure, currently Vectal does over $7,000 a month, but like, it didn't start with that, right? Like, only recently we added the free plan, like what, a week ago, and now we have nearly 2,000 users. And it took like 4 months to get there. But luckily for you, if you want to start an AI startup, you don't have to spend 4 months on it, because I've literally documented every single step of the way, from choosing the idea to building, creating the project in Cursor, to adding the front end, to deploying Vectal, releasing it, adding Stripe payments, to adding the free plan as the most recent update. All of that is accessible in the new society, in the classroom. So if you want to build your own AI startup and you want to see all of that, and you want to get everything else, as well as in the templates and presets, we actually have a list of startup ideas right here, as well as domains, right? So there is also available domains, 108 optimized.ai domains for your startup, all of which are available in the classroom of the new society. So the new society is going to be linked below the video for those who are interested. Anyways, let's see if our deep research has been finished here. Seems like it has, and it considered 30 different sources. So this is more than OpenAI's deep research considers. Let's see what's there. This is the answer, so I'm going to scroll down. As you can see, it's a very thorough answer, but not unnecessarily long. I feel like OpenAI's deep research is unnecessarily long. Perplexity has a nice balance. So I'm going to paste it in, and I'm going to say, give me, this is another great prompt I use all the time, give me a TLDR summary of the search results. But here's the important part. Be careful though, often they contain dangerous red herrings. Answer in short. If you don't include that, it can get distracted on some random stuff, right? Okay, so just, I would say, in that case, take a deep breath and execute this fix like a 10x engineer would. I'm going to tag route.ts and page. The fewer lines of code, the better. See, now it's hallucinating. So I'm going to stop it here. I'm going to say, stop right there. What is the issue? Explain clearly. Answer in short. And then we're going to do a follow-up web search. We don't have to do deep research on this. We're just going to do normal Perplexity search. So I'm going to use Pro Search right here. Make sure you have web enabled. And I'm going to say, issues with the imports. Say, let's do another web search format a new one paragraph search query explaining what we are doing and what the issue we encountered is. Do not do anything else, just give me the paragraph. So again, when you notice it being in a loop like this, it's almost never a good idea to just let it run. It will like start changing so many files, it will start importing stuff, it's all over the place, right? It's better to stop it, say like pause, explain to me what the issue is. Okay, this is the issue. Let's do web search, let's see what Perplexity has to say, given real information on the web. And then you kind of return it back to reality. Because it's fine if it does it once, right? If there's like a linter error and it checks it once and it fixes it, perfect. Happens all the time. If it goes into a loop where, fixing one error creates another one, you have to stop that. You cannot accept that. You cannot accept. So yeah. Here we're like halfway through, so I stopped it. And then I'm going to take the answers of this search query, which was a lot faster because we didn't do deep research. I'm going to paste this in. I'm going to say, here's what the search results say. Give me a TLDR summary. Let's see what the issue is. We made a mistake with the imports. Everything should come directly from the AI package, and we need to add 2 important exports. Okay. So make it happen. This is strange. So string text from AI. Next.js 14, but we're using Next.js 15. That's the issue, right? If you were paying attention, by the way, you would know that from launching right here, Next.js 15. Was that in the prompt? Wait, might have been. Oh, that's the issue. We're using it. See, this is why you need to pay attention. We're using Next.js 15, so let's save that. This is completely invalid. All of this doesn't matter. And as you can see, it's running in the loop again. So this is why you need to pay attention. AI will deceive you. We're using this Next.js package, 15, right? And it did a web search around 14. Maybe it will be the same, but you cannot be sloppy like this. You have to pay attention what the prompts are saying, even if you don't understand all the code. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit my prompt right here, because all of this stuff is completely irrelevant. It's Next.js 14. We're not using Next.js 14. I mean, not completely irrelevant, but you know what I'm saying, right? So submit is going to revert. All good with me. So maybe the move is actually to first make it work in route.ts and do a console. So let me do a new composer. Say, we are having trouble making route.ts work so that it communicates with page. What if we just implement the DeepSeek AI model in the TS file and have it output into the console so that we know it works? Can we do this? And again, I'm a complete noob when it comes to TypeScript or Next.js, so I don't know if this is possible. Okay, it's trying to modify stuff. I did not see. This is the problem. I see the issue. Say, can we do this? Is this possible? Do not write any code yet. Just answer. It's like hasty. It's trying to impress you. It's trying to do stuff. Yes, we can definitely create a simple test implementation. Okay. In that case, I'll say, in that case, make sure to follow. I'm going to do together AI and together AI and together AI closely and carefully. And also, wait, there's one more docs we should have. We should have the. Where is the Vercel SDK, bro? Vercel SDK, AI SDK. We should have the foundations. No. I don't know if there's any like generic docs that'll be useful here. But what I'm trying to figure out is like where the issue is. Right now seems to be that the connection between route and page. But even before that, we need to just get it up and running. We need to get a successful response. So make sure to follow together AI closely and carefully. I'm gonna say send that. Core AI package from, okay, so I'm gonna say install the following 2 packages. And then which is the default one? This, okay. No, I don't want to add a new doc. Boom. npm AI. Amazing. Boom. We should have this one, no? Or am I crazy? AI SDK together AI. Oh. Maybe it didn't install it properly. Okay. So I'm going to say now update route TS so that it outputs the AI response into the terminal. Super simple. Follow and then together AI. Boom. Okay, let's see. So it's simplified route TS drastically. So let's see. Use basic together, so removes, use, okay, logs everything in the console. Let's see. Okay, how do we run this? How do we run this then? Okay, the issue is that I think for debugging, DeepSeek R1 is terrible because it takes longer. I'm gonna switch to a faster model, which is gonna be DeepSeek V3. And we're gonna use R1, but again, for debugging, you know, you cannot wait 1 minute or 30 seconds. So in here, let's use DeepSeek V3. And I'm gonna say no streaming. We don't need any streaming. Let's do new composer. I'm gonna say make sure that that page can correctly call route.tsx for the AI completions, and that route.tsx returns the message once it's full. No token streaming yet. Once it's returned by the together AI API, no token streaming yet. Okay, so we're gonna use, okay, this is an issue. We have multiple terminals open. This one needs to be closed. Let me close this. This one needs to be restarted. npm run dev. And again, if you don't know, you can just type in restart terminal. Cursor can easily use terminal. So now it's suggesting some changes. We just want to make sure that we're using DeepSeek V3. That's correct. Page.tsx is making some changes. Let's see if it works. Let me reload this. Say test, send, thinking. Okay, this is progress. It didn't crash like last time. And we get an error. Failed to parse stream string. Okay, but this is good. This is good. So go cursor, paste it, open the terminal. Oh, we got a response. It seems like, okay, so we are getting chat response. Amazing. Let's put this into composer and we'll say we got, okay, looks like the API is working. Amazing. However, we are still getting an error. Explain what the error is and then fix it. So this looks like front-end issue because our TypeScript looks good. Vercel expects to response to be streaming format, use chat. So no. Yeah, so now we might be getting ourselves into trouble again. We're getting error, explain what the error is, and then write a 1-paragraph search query for the web as if you were telling a human researcher what to look for, and this was, and you had to give him as much context as possible. So before it starts doing stuff, because I don't want to get into a loop, we're just going to do a clean Perplexity search on this issue. Boom, I'm going to copy the entire thing, paste it in here. I'm going to do actually reasoning with, no, I think for this normal search might be better. It's weird, like it's hard to describe, but honestly, it's like my intuition has been developed from the hundreds of hours I've spent building my startup. Sometimes, I know that reasoning model would be better, but in this case, I think the normal model actually would be better because the reasoning could get itself into trouble. See, this is another issue. Using Next.js 13+, what do you mean? Using Next.js 15, save. We need to keep updating this. Actually, that's my issue. We should create a new file here, .cursor rules. In here, we should create text tag. And actually, on the bottom right, I'm going to switch from plain text to markdown. And now it's going to be treated as markdown. In this file, we need to mention what is happening. So we need to say like, we are using Next.js and then give the exact version. 15, boom, text tag. Next.js 15, and then for the logic, we use the Vercel AI SDK. As the AI provider, we use Together AI. Our model is DeepSeek v3. Okay, so this is essential info, and the cursor rule files basically is called in every single time you chat with cursor. This is essential. That's my bad for not including this context, but it needs to be here. So you can, text tag is just one thing. You can do like, you know, project overview, right? Whatever. But right now I'm just gonna leave text tag because this is, we need this. I don't wanna check myself every time. If you find yourself repeating something, should probably go into cursor rules. Anyways, let me copy this over. I'm gonna say, give me a TLDR of what the issue is. Is it relevant to our problem? Answer in short. Actually, not what the issue is. What the search results say. Generate text isn't used. That will throw a linter error if we build it, but whatever. No need to worry about that now. Let's go to our app. Advanced AI Research Assistant. I'm going to do test. Come on. There we go. There we go. So this is DeepSeek v3. Let's try R1. Okay, let's try R1. Let's try our luck. Reload. I'm going to say, what is AI? Come on. Come on. Still thinking. So I'm wondering if it's not showing the thinking tokens. Oh, now it's going. Now it's going. So this is DeepSeek R1. This is good. This is the powerful big boy model. Okay. What we need to do, we need to implement the web search now. This is good enough, but it's not sufficient. Okay, so as you can see, we have the think tag. So this is the reasoning. I'm not gonna design this, doesn't matter. And this is the end of the reasoning. So after this, we have the response. To make this a deep research, we need web search, because right now the model is just a model, right? So for debugging, I'm gonna switch, actually, you know what? I'm gonna copy paste this, boom, and then v3. I'm gonna say, for testing, for development, we wanna use the fast v3 model. Okay, let's keep this right here. That's good. This is amazing. So, great progress. Great progress here. What we can do is like remove the footer and header. Okay, so I'm gonna do that. New composer, vastly different change. So I'm gonna, like, this is a vastly different task. So new composer, right? Update page to remove the footer and header so that our chat area is the main thing. Let's see how this looks like. And now we're gonna cook. This is gonna, like, cursor is so amazing in this, right? So since you're running the npm run dev development server, the changes are reflected in real time. So I can stay on this side. I don't need to approve anything, and it will be reflected right here. Let's see. Cursor is applying the changes right now, generating, and once it's generated, we will see it right here. There it is. So it removed. Okay, the issue is that our input should be at the bottom. So that's what I'm gonna say next. I'm gonna accept and say, make sure the chat input text field is always visible at the bottom. and that only the message history itself is a scrollable area. So right now the entire page is scrollable, that's an issue. We want to only make this scrollable, and this needs to be always appended at the bottom. You know, this is not a good chatbot like this. Let's see if it pulls it off. And also this text could be in the left, right? So no. I'm gonna say this is not enough. I don't want the entire page to be scrollable. Maybe the issue is in layout actually. So I'm gonna tag layout as well. Layout page. Only the chat message history. The user input field should be visible and, well, what's the right word? Should be visible and, I don't know, attached to the bottom at all times, not in the scrollable area. So for this, it helps if you know some front-end terms, you know, like scrollable area. but honestly, it's like plain English. So if you can describe what you want, it should be good. Now it's adjusting the layout. Maybe that's the issue. Oh, oops. Okay, now we cannot scroll. That's good, but we don't see the input field. Hello, please come in. It's probably refactoring the entire page, to be honest. So we need to layout. Okay, I see. And then page. Oh, there we are. There we are. Okay. So now we have the input field always, and then we have the message history. And maybe I can say, I don't know if it can see. Okay. AI Research Assistant could honestly be on the left. Or maybe we can just remove this. Whatever. Accept file, page DSX, accept AI Research Assistant. I'm gonna say deep research. Okay, boom, deep research. Scrollable area right here. And then AI message. That's good. It's pretty solid. Yeah, I don't think we should try hard the UI. I just want to make sure that it looks promising. So, are we using the root model v3 correct? Next, we need to start designing the logic. So I'm going to describe the logic. And maybe we should describe it in cursor rules actually. I'm going to say deep research logic, okay? Say, okay, the user will ask a question which he wants researched. We will launch a quick AI agent that will format an optimized search query. Okay, here deep agent using DeepSeek v3 that will format. Okay, and then this will go. Okay, do we deep research? Let's think about this, right? Deep research. Honestly, for this, for the core logic, maybe you could ask AI, but it's almost better if you know yourself what you want to build, right? Because AI is not very creative. This is one thing you have to understand. AI sucks at super creative and innovative solutions. For deep research, we need the user to send a query. That needs to go... Honestly, that could go straight to a search engine. No, but there needs to be... Okay, that needs to go to DeepSeek R1, maybe. Then he formats... Yeah, okay. No. Using DeepSeek... Okay, but this will... Okay, using DeepSeek, whatever. I'm gonna leave the specific... Using DeepSeek for optimized search query. Then we'll go to Tavili API to actually search the web. The results will go to DeepSeek again, where the AI agent will reflect on how much info we have, how it relates to the user prompt, and what we need to search for next. Then we will call Tavili API again. By the way, if you don't know, the Veli API, you can go into chat, or like, Vectal would be perfect for this, and say like, oh, free mini mode, what APIs could we use for the actual web search in our app? Because the LLMs themselves don't have web search. So these are options, right? Microsoft Azure, Bing API, Google Custom Search, SERP API. So we can use SERP or Tavili, doesn't matter, right? But again, if you don't know about these APIs, just ask Vectal, right? You can use O3 Mini DeepSeek R1 for free, obviously limited usage. If you have the paid plan, you have unlimited. But this is the main point. Vectal knows about all your tasks, everything you're working on, so you don't have to repeat that context. Really, people who fill out all this stuff, who take 10 minutes to fill out everything into Vectal, though, like all of them are loving the product. So, okay, we'll use the Veli API again, and then finally we will call DeepSeek to summarize everything and write a response to the user. I think this is a simple way to say it. Obviously, for the deep research, we would have number of loops, but maybe you can say this. Okay, we will launch DeepSeek. That will go. Maybe this could be in a loop, right? Research loop. Then we start a research loop, and then we put like all of this into the loop. First, okay, number one, and this is the beauty of Cursor. I just press tab and it knows what I want to do, right? Number one, launch an AI agent using DeepSeek, call the Veli API, and then, okay, repeat the process, okay, boom, call the Veli API, again, it's incorrect, and then I'm going to say repeat the process n number of times, and then we can set n easily, right? So launch an agent. Okay, maybe this should be right here actually. And then boom, like this. Because the first AI agent, first we launch an AI agent that will format optimize search query. Okay, we need to change this. Then we start a research loop. Call to the API to actually do a web search. Call DeepSeek again, where agent will reflect how much info we have. We need to search for next. Process number of time. Once the research loop is complete, we call DeepSeek to summarize everything. Okay, looks good. This looks good. Now we can research loop. Research loop. That's good. So now we can easily change the end. So let's create a new composer, and I'm gonna say we need to update root.tsx to make this happen, right? So update root.tsx to properly to actually follow the deep research logic outlined in cursor rules. Okay, and then we'll say we need to get the Tavili API key, right? So Tavili API key, or actually Tavili API right here. So let's log in, actually sign up. Boom. I'm gonna use Google, one of my Google accounts. Okay, so I'm logged in. Now all we need to do is create a new API key. So I'm gonna click on plus. I'm gonna do deep research. Okay, development limited to 100 requests per minute. I think that's plenty for us. Create deep research again. Let me copy this. Let me open our environment file again. I'm gonna say Tavili API key. Boom. Paste it in this. Now we need to go back to root. Actually, we need to go back to the web. Open the docs. Getting started. Quick start. So this is the Tavili API. All right, so I'm gonna copy this into docs, new file, tavili.md. Paste this in here, and then I'm gonna have it formatted format Tavili in proper markdown. Do not change any info. Do not rewrite any text. Just format it nicely. But yeah, I'm gonna accept this. Boom. Okay, whatever. I'm gonna switch to previous composer. I'm gonna say follow the official documentation Tavili. I'm gonna tag the markdown file. I'm gonna say I also added the env, the API key into env. Boom, send. So as you can see, my prompt is pretty concise, but I tagged 4 different files. So now cursor agent should do its magic. Honestly, we can still fit this. Yeah, we need to install tavili.js. Actually, Python, but yeah, ooh, that's my bad. So this is a mistake. I copied Python implementation. Maybe it's good that you see, yeah, it's good that you see me make this mistake. Right now we're using TypeScript, or JavaScript. So we need to change this to JavaScript. So I'm gonna revert right here. I'm gonna send this again, make it look nicely. And actually, this is the issue, right? Right now it's like, I need to paste this in, say, try again. The issue is that if you change the prompt, it changes the stuff you put there, right? So you have to be careful. It reverts the changes, basically, even you made before that. Maybe this is something that Cursor could improve on. But yeah, you need to be aware of what tech stack you're using and copy the correct examples. Now we can go back in here and say, actually, I'm going to create a new composer just so it's clean. Copy the same prompt. Now it should follow the JavaScript, right? So first we need to install the package. We don't have the import, so we need to run this. Please follow, yes. Okay, so it's following the exact command. It's good. And then it can start implementing in the route. It's good to check what the AI is doing, right? Even if you don't understand everything, don't be one of those people that turns their brain off. Try to understand as much as possible. Now it's going to update route.ts. We can click here. So we need to do a loop of web search, and then we have the AI agent reflect on the web search, think about what the user has said, and then call the web search again. The main magic is like structuring the logic here. And again, you can make this custom for any niche, right? So in this, I picked like investors or whatever, but whatever niche you decide to target, you can customize the logic and the prompts. And just by doing that, you can make it much more relevant to that niche. So if you want to pursue this business opportunity, pick a niche where you have understanding. And actually, if you want to just use everything I've built, right? Let's say you see the potential, but you don't want to go through the hassle of like debugging and stuff. I'm going to be putting the code into the new society. So in the classroom, in the templates and preset section, we actually put all the code from my videos right here, as well as prompts. See, this is the code. Here put all the prompts I use, all the automations, AI agents, checklists, templates, so that it's easy and copy pastable for you. Again, new society is going to be linked below. All right, so now, whoa, this is a big refactor right here. Maybe we should split this into different files. The Vercel API key, so this looks good, right? I'm gonna show you how to properly use Cursor. Instead of doing accept file or accept all, you should be going one by one. So import the Vercel, this is correct, or at least it looks correct, right? Then initialize the client, makes sense. Throw an error if we're missing the environment key, we wanna do that. This is bad. It's trying to delete our model for no reason. So I'm gonna reject and reject. Oh, this is a cheat code. Okay, whatever, I'm gonna accept this. Whatever. I lost my file, but my line of comments, but we can easily change that. Now we have a lot of logic, and this is probably too much for a single file. It's nothing crazy, right? It's 150 lines, but it's starting to be less obvious, and we don't have enough separation of concerns. So if I reload the front end, there's a high chance it will not work, right? I'm gonna say, find news about Sam Altman and Elon Musk. Error. See, okay, so I'm gonna revert these changes, honestly. Like, this is way too much of a change. This is way too big of a change. So yeah, 119 new lines of code. then 16 removes, and then it had some issues. Start by adding a quick web search. Right before the AI agent, and then then send the results of the web search into our DeepSeek agent. We will add the loop later. So it's trying to do too much at once, but honestly, we need to keep it concise. We need to keep it under control, one step at a time. Honestly, this is like, a lot of you guys have the same issue. When you're working, you set like a big goal, right? But then you don't know how to turn it into steps. And this is actually one of the main value adds of Vectal. You can describe a big goal and can turn it into these steps. And we have the API integration, we have the core UI components. We actually need to design the logic next. So if you have a big task, just describe it into Vectal and say like, break this down into 4 smaller steps, right? And it will do that. Create those tasks and help you complete them. And then you can toggle DeepSeek R1 or O3 mini mode and just go one step at a time. So let's see, okay, this looks all correct. And then we do the web search. Oh, why is it so complex here? Another tip, I'm gonna say, take a deep breath and proceed like a senior developer would. The fewer lines of code, the better, okay? It's trying to do too much at once. Like, bro. The Vili API, if you remember, we put it in the documentation here. It's super simple, right? And it's trying to do like way too much. Okay, so this looks smaller, right? We can see it's, and now it's gonna have the, yeah, whatever. Search depth basic, okay. So it's making the same mistakes, but these are on the right track. This still looks suspiciously long. Chat AI performing web search, the Vili search, basic, okay, whatever. Let's see. Let's go to our app, reload. I'm gonna say, find news about Elon. I'll say, find news about JD Vance. Oh my God, the speech he gave in Munich, amazing speech, insane. Highly recommend watching it. So let's see what's happening. Here's a summary. Resigns from the Senate. What? This is not really news, no? Okay, instead of this, I'm actually gonna say, update route so that it just performs a Tavili web search and prints prints out the results in the raw results into the console. We want to see what's happening. Okay, so this is all I needed. I want to log the response. This is good. This is good. So let's see what happens here. Let's refresh, and I'm gonna say, what is the latest news in Europe from February 2025, so that it actually gives us relevant stuff. Let's see the console. Boom. So we have this. Maybe we should actually switch from. We can set like advanced and basic, right? Advanced. Maybe that's the move. But we get some responses, right? What is there? Current affairs. Latest news bulletin. Use support for Ukraine in a concise and clear way. Okay, so if we do again, same prompt, yeah, it's much more concise. Okay, 13th of February, that's good. And we're using advanced here. So now if we go into Tavili, we're going to be using more credits actually. 6, yeah. But this is good, this is good. So we are starting to have some logic here. If we look into the terminal, we can see the response, right? Commission welcomes new European board, blah, blah, blah. And then there's a score of relevance. Maybe let's test it a bit more. I'm gonna say, give me latest news regarding USA politics as of October 23. So that's the issue. Why is it searching for October 23? Wait. So I'm going to say update enhanced prompt so that we are pasting in today's date as well. Get it from code. The models don't have awareness of what today is. Okay, today's date. Bro, why so fancy? The fewer lines of code, the better. Why is it trying to be so fancy? Oh my god. Okay, today's date, yes. Much better. Okay, this is the official date. Today is. Boom, here. Okay, here are the search results. Boom. And then I'm gonna add in dash right here. Based on this information, give the user a concise and clear summary. TLDR summary. Okay. Answering, okay, relevant to his original prompt. Say boom, latest message content, and we can probably delete it like this. Oops. Like so. Looks good. So prompt engineering is honestly an art. It's both art and science. You'll get better at it over time. But this should prevent us from having this issue where the AI model is confused. Now we're giving it the date. We're telling it today is set day. And actually, why not we just use DeepSeek R1? Boom, let me delete this. Save. Reload. Let's see, give me the latest news regarding USA politics. Okay, so this is DeepSeek R1 since there's the think tag. Okay, the search provided in USC Politico need to be starting with AP News. There are multiple articles mentioning Trump, blah blah blah, lawsuit, Putin, TLDR accused. Okay, Trump explanation. Yeah, so these are recent. That's good. So now we know that this works. But we need to implement a loop. It's time for us to implement a loop. So say it's time for us to implement the research loop. To start with, we will only do 2 iterations. Described in, and then where was it described? The cursor rules. That cursor rules. Boom. Take a deep breath. Okay, so I mean, use as much of the current code as possible. Take a deep breath and proceed like a senior developer would. The reason I said that is because the current code works, right? We get the Tavili search and then we get DeepSeek R1 to reason about it. We just need to implement it in a loop where the DeepSeek reflects on the search, thinks about, okay, we have this, but the user asked this, maybe we're missing some other part, and then continues the search based on that. So let's see how it prompts that. Generate, okay, why is it trying to do stuff? I don't like the import. Why is it trying to do a different import? Maybe we can set the power of the research loop in the front end. That would be good, actually. But first, let's accept this and let's see if it works. Chances are it won't. So I'm going to say, what is going on in Munich? Okay, we have an error. So yeah, I mean, this was pretty obvious. That's going to be error. I'll say, the fewer lines of code, the better. Because again, it's trying to change way too much. And I just needed to turn it into a loop. We will add more stuff on top of that. Okay, I'm going to decline this and say, you're trying to do too much at once. Look into that cursor rules and tell me what the next small change in route TS should be, so that we are one step closer to our final logic, to our final vision, okay? Do not write any code yet, just answer. Why is it such a long answer? I hate long answers. Just answer in short, okay? Give me a short answer, please. Right now, okay, before we should utilize DeepSeek to analyze user questions formatted optimized search query. So if we revisit cursor rules, yeah, we need to do this, okay? So we need to do that. I will say, okay, I agree. However, let's utilize the code we already have in route to make this happen, because that code works. Take a deep breath and proceed like a senior developer would. The fewer lines of code, the better. And actually, before I send that, I'm gonna switch to DeepSeek v3 just so we can develop faster. v3, save. Yeah, so we need to get the input from the user, and then based on, okay, yeah, by the way, I want to write down my idea. I think that's a really good idea of setting the loop and say, okay, front end, we will let the user set the number of iterations. Yes. All right, so let's go back. Why is it trying to generate text again? Why? Max tokens, we can do 200. It's fine. Accept, and Tavili. Yeah, so first we process the user message and then we send the search. Let's see if that works actually. Honestly, we should be sending to frontend what's happening. Update route and page so that we are sending to frontend simple message bubbles, updating the user on what's happening, as if we were showing him certain debug logs. Basically, we need to show these in the chat as if those were AI responses. And I will say implement this in the simplest way possible. So the current implementation just failed, just doesn't work straight up. So we're gonna use something else. Root.yes. And we have a bunch of lints. That's amazing. That's crazy, right? What is the simplest way to make this happen? Do not write any code yet, just answer. I don't know why it's struggling to do that. Sounds pretty simple to me. I don't know. Make this happen. The fewer lines of code, the better. So now it's suggesting a different approach, actually. It's interesting. When you ask it to just suggest the best way to do it, instead of telling it to do it, it shows a different thing. It's very interesting how it works. What? Man, this is insane. Why is it? But do not delete any current logic. Just add this on top, idiot. Yeah, maybe this is time for a new composer. Like, anytime it starts going crazy, will keep existing. Yeah, let's see. I mean, I don't know. To me, this should be pretty simple. Why is it refactoring the beginning? This is the mystery. Like, using these models is crazy. Like, sometimes they just mess with stuff that they don't need to mess with at all. Like, what? The fewer lines of code changed, the better. Okay? Not the fewer lines of code changed, the better. Minimal change, okay? We want minimal changes, not a full refactor. Create status stream. Okay, I'm curious if this will work. This is crazy. Give me news in Europe. So this works, that's good news. What does it mean, recent updates? This is completely old. I think the issue is where the Vercel API setup, but whatever. What if we create another TSX component that handles all the logic, that handles the chat history and manages all the logic, and we calling clean and modular functions from route. That way our front end would have clear understanding of what's happening. What do you think of this? Do not write any code yet, just answer. Where are we? Right here. Okay, so where should we create the file then? I'm gonna send it a structure. Boom. Where should the new TSX component go, and how should we name it? Okay, so new directory in the app, new folder, components, and what research chat, okay. New file research chat.tsx. I'm gonna say good practice is to put the location of the file as a comment on top, right? So I created the file. I created research. Hello, research chat.tsx. Now, how do we execute this refactor? Let's do it in stages. We need to update route.ts so that it has clean, modular, and separate functions. Then we need to structure the logic loop described in that cursor rules inside of the new research chat file. And then we also need to refactor page to use the new file. However, we cannot do all of this at once. Your job is to suggest a clear 3 to 4 stage process in a way that makes sense. Do not write any code yet, just answer. Okay, so basically OBS just wasted like 40 minutes of my life because I recorded myself finishing it and then the video was stuck. So I'm just gonna show you what I did. I split the logic into 3 different files, right? So before we had only one route.ts, now we have 3 different route.ts files and each one does different things. So this one is the reasoner one. It thinks about the prompt and what is missing, what the next search query should be and stuff like that. Then we have the search one, which does obviously the web search with the Willy on advanced setting only for this month and 10 results. So this is like advanced and 10 results, it goes really deep. And then we have the manager. This one is used in 2 ways. At the start to optimize the initial search query, but then at the end to provide a summary based on the parameters it receives, right? So if it receives the search results, if search results are provided, then it generates a final summary. So these are the 3 different routes, and then the logic is handled in this component, research chat. And again, if you're like, oh my God, David, I'm getting lost, I'm gonna put the code in the new society, right? So in the templates and presets, you can get all of my code from previous videos, as well as from this video. And then same for the prompts and instructions, right? So here is like David's code, here is prompts and instructions. And this is just one of many things we offer in the new society, right? Like perhaps the main thing relevant to this video is how to build an AI startup, where I documented since day one, all of the behind the scenes, all the mistakes, lessons, everything I learned until the recent updates where I added Vectal for free, right? So if you want to have access to all of this, make sure to join the new society. That being said, let me show you. So this file right now, it calls these 3 different API routes based on what it needs to do. So currently the loop we described in cursor rules, this loop, I've moved the logic from, originally it was in the route.ts. Now I moved it into the research chat TSX component. So again, maybe this is not best practices, ask Claude or ask ChatGPT for that, but this works basically, right? So it works. If I say like, what is project target? Maybe even let me reset this so you can see it from scratch, right? What is project target? It says optimizing your question. Boom, there it is, super fast optimized. Project target, purpose history, details. Then in web search, see how fast it is? It's super good. Round 1 out of 3, so we can actually set the rounds, right? If you want to go deeper, we can set the iterations to 5, 7, 10, whatever. Like you're only paying for the API cost, so you can run DeepSeek for super cheap. Tvili is also super cheap. So here, analyze search results. So this is the first one, right? Then we go for round 2 of web search. Then we analyzing search results again. And this is how it works until we have 3. And then the summarizer, final AI agent, gives it. So this tool, it took me like 2 hours to build anyways. Now you've seen it, how I built it. And if you have the templates from New Society, you can build it in much shorter. Then you can just deploy it on Vercel if you don't know how to do it. Say like, I've finished building the deep research tool in Next.js and TypeScript. How do I deploy it on Vercel now? Give me step-by-step instructions and create a task for each. In Vectal, you can break these down intimidating tasks, right? If you've never deployed anything, it's like, oh my God, how do I do it? In Vectal, it can just create the task. So it marks those as completed and say, okay, good, now create a task for each of these 5 steps. So this is the main reason to use Vectal, right? Like this is just one of many things it can do, honestly, but you get the point. So now, if you want to deploy it, you would follow the instructions. And let's say you get stuck on something, you need more power, you would use O3 Mini, or you need even more power, use DeepSeek R1. All of these are available on the free plan, by the way, obviously in limited quantity. But as you can see here, I was using it often in this video, and I didn't even hit the limit. So the free plan is pretty damn generous on Vectal. Either way, this deep search, if you customize it to tax professionals, lawyers, bankers, like doctors, any profession that needs to do web search, right? IT professionals, managers, HR, like there's all these different niches, like fitness trainers, personal trainers, influencers, content creators, so many different niches and industries where all of them need to do some sort of web search, right? If you customize the prompts, if you customize the loop in a way that is specialized for that niche, right? Like these prompts are super generic, but imagine if I specialized it to lawyers only. And I really took, multiple hours just to write great prompts. And I tested it and I consulted, gave it for free to a few lawyers, get their feedback, implemented it. You can build a really great specialized deep research tool for any niche. And I would recommend focusing on niches where the target audience has some money, right? Charge $10 a month, $15 a month for this. You can scale this to thousands of dollars a month much faster than you think. And again, I've built this without writing any code. In this video, I haven't done any TypeScript, JavaScript coding. I don't even know any TypeScript, JavaScript, or Next.js. I'm just using cursor, using plain English, describing what I want to build, giving it the feedback, giving it the context, capitalizing on trends that are currently happening. And I'm speaking from experience. It's not like I haven't done this. I've done this myself over the past 4 months. And each month, Vector is getting significantly better. Why? Thanks to these AI tools. So if you want to get started, just know that this is possible. Don't think that you need to be a senior programmer. Absolutely not. You can do it yourself just by watching this video. And again, if you have more information, if you're serious about this and you want to build a startup, highly recommend joining New Society and watching what I did in building my own startup. And again, go to vectal.ai, give it a shot. It's completely free. Replace Todoist, replace Notion. Just use this. It's built-in AI agents that will save you time. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching and have a wonderful, productive rest of the week. Ondrej out.